All right, looks like we are live.
How's it
How's
going?
everybody doing?
Excellent.
Hello.
Excellent. It's a gorgeous
Everybody,
day.
we have Derek Farmer and Bill joining me today. And we couldn't ask for two better guests. Last time Derek was on, we talked about putting together a matrix so that we can process the information. And then you have somebody like Bill who is providing the information. So
Yeah.
he has the most detailed timeline that I've seen. So together with Derek, we're going to try to put all this information together. And with the help of the chat as well, we're going to bounce ideas, questions. We're going to try to verify facts. And we have a great panel to do that today.
Oh, that sounds. I actually didn't know exactly what direction it's going in. I always do like that too because I like to flow with it. So that sounds really exciting. Let's do it.
Let's go. I was talking with Bill earlier about a timeline. Bill, I think we should start there because that's where all the information, that's where all the facts are. That's the information that needs to be out to the public. And then us as a group that's been kind of obsessed with this case and obsessing over the information, hopefully we can make sense of it all.
All right. So you want me to start roughly around what I just emailed you like about 10, 15 minutes ago or so, right?
Yeah, whatever you think's important, and with the timeline, because what you've been able to do with it, I've gone through, and anything I wasn't sure on, verified it. So, I mean, it's a great timeline. So wherever you want to go, wherever you want to
Nice.
start.
All right. Let me see here. So we pretty much last time we talked went over everything that happened up until the point where they were dropped off at the trail or getting ready to leave for the trail. So I'll start. I'll just do. I'll do the 13th, February 13th. We'll start from there. So at 12 a.m. to 1 a.m., I have the girls going to bed, and this is based on my guess, according to what Carrie Timmons said when they woke up. So they woke up at about 9:30 a.m. 8 hours subtracted, 9 hours subtracted. It's about midnight to 1 a.m. Just a guess.
I didn't get many 8 hour sleep nights when I was 13 or 14. But go ahead.
Right, right. I was just, I don't know,
No, you have
basing
to
it off
apply
of
some science
averages,
to
I
it. That's
guess.
standard for sleep. So I understand totally.
Right. So 9:30 a.m. Libby and Abby wake up. Libby Snapchats her mother, Carrie, while still in bed. Libby's father, Derek, makes pancakes for the girls. At some point, Libby asks her sister Kelsey about going to the high bridge with her. Kelsey tells her no the first time she asks. I don't know exactly when this was asked, but according to interviews with Kelsey, Libby did ask her prior to asking later around 1.
Mm-hmm.
The girls are bored, so they ask Libby's grandmother Becky if there's anything they can do. Becky tells the girls that they want to do some filing for her. They would
Yay.
go out and do something later. There's also talk of the girls painting / refurbishing a desk.
Yeah, sounds like she put him to work, man. Got to dig it. Keeps him out of trouble, I guess.
Yep, teaches them life lessons as well.
Absolutely.
Um, After that, Libby and Abby do some filing. 12 p.m. There is a vehicle described as a car by Sergeant Kim Riley parked outside the abandoned CPS DCS building on County Route 300 North next to the Hoosier Heartland Highway. 1 p.m. Kelsey says that she's going to a friend's house before she went to work. Libby, and this is in quotes, jumps right up and asks to go to the trail / high bridge. Kelsey felt like she had been telling Libby no too many times lately, so she changed her mind from earlier and said she would bring them. Becky originally says no because of the filing they had to do and the desk they were going to work on, but Libby insisted that they would continue with it when they got back. Becky told them that she wouldn't be able to come pick them up because she was busy, so she would have to find a ride home. Now, this is something I'm not entirely sure of. I have at 1:30, Kelsey returns home from a friend's house. I'm not sure if Kelsey had left to go to a friend's house and then came back and picked up the girls, or she brought the girls and then went to a friend's house.
Yeah,
That's
what
not
was the latest? I remember originally media was saying 1 p.m. And then I remember even Becky said 1:15, but I think she may have eventually come and corrected it right at 1:30. Is that
well. What I'm confused about is, did Kelsey go to a friend's house before or after she had brought the girls to the trail?
I'm going to say after.
Okay. So after that, before leaving, Becky told Libby and Abby to bring a jacket, but Libby assured her grandmother they would be fine. Kelsey, Libby, and Abby leave the house headed towards the trail. Then they have 1:38 p.m. around that time. While on the drive, Kelsey gets a phone call from her boyfriend. Around this time, Libby is calling her father Derek to arrange a ride home. There is no set time for them to be picked up, but Derek said he would call when he was close and he would meet them at the trailhead. Abigail and Liberty were dropped off on County Road 300 North, east of the Hoosier Heartland Highway. Before Kelsey leaves the girls, she gives them both sweatshirts to wear and tells Libby she loves her. Kelsey said she noticed kids there that were her age, but said she didn't see anything suspicious. But Kelsey later said she didn't see kids her age at the bridge at the time when she dropped them off. But when she was there later, there were 10 to 20 kids there. So I know it's
Is that a
hard to
conflicting
recall
account,
facts,
or
but
is she like correcting herself, or did you feel like that's a conflicting account?
the first time she does an interview, she says there with the James Renner interview, she says there was kids there, but then she later corrected herself and said that she didn't see kids there. So I believe it's a correction.
I think she didn't. I don't think that she saw them. I think she just knew that they were there. She knew that people were there earlier that day. That she heard because it was relatives of the friend she was going to visit. She knew from family members who were talking about going to meet people there. So I think even if she saw them or not, I think just in her mind she knew that there was people there around her age group.
All right. Yeah. Well, she did say that later when she was there were 10 to 20 kids there. So it could be a mixture of both what you were just saying and that. All right. I'll continue. Kelsey watched the girls until she saw them get on the trail. So if the girls did at some point leave, it was after Kelsey left.
Yeah, I have a suspicion they went directly to the Freedom Bridge.
Yeah, that's my feeling on that as well.
That would have made that they literally turned around after Kelsey thought they went one way. After she left, they turned around and went to the Freedom Bridge, possibly.
No,
Well,
the way they were the way they were walking when Kelsey left was already towards the Freedom Bridge.
Oh, okay. Because I thought with the being at the Mears parking lot that was sort of, I just thought it was a different trailhead that didn't. They kind of went one way towards.
well, it does fork. So what I'm assuming is if she's saying she watched them, I know once you take that Mears trail, it kind of forks. You can go take the trail to the Freedom Bridge, or you can take it to the Monon High Bridge. So I'm wondering if Kelsey meant she just watched her walk to the end of that, to where the fork in the road begins. And then Kelsey leaves, and then they walk to the Freedom Bridge.
I mean, she's going to her boyfriend. She has to be to work. They're on the trail. One has to assume that she didn't watch them do their whole hike, that she felt they were on the trail and probably went and did her daily business that she was doing,
Well, big sisters, they kind of do that. Like I had a younger brother. They just kind of watch like a parent, just for a little while. Like, okay, they're good. They don't need me. They're off and running. Now I can leave.
My big sister would contend that being 6 years younger, I kept too close of an eye on her and ratted her out way too many times. But yes, no, I see what you're saying. Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's what we're here for. Anytime you need to stop me, stop me. All right. So the next thing I have is a description of what both of the girls were wearing. Liberty was wearing a sweatshirt that Kelsey had given her. Under that, a tie-dyed shirt that is fringed at the bottom, gray sweats with an unknown black lettering, and black Nike shoes. And there's actually a picture of her, probably not from that day, but wearing that same exact outfit that's been out there. So if you ever seen the picture of Libby wearing a tie-dyed shirt, that's relatively the same outfit she was wearing that day.
Okay.
And then Abigail was wearing a gray zip-up sweatshirt that Kelsey had given to her to wear, with a burgundy t-shirt underneath, which was her mother's shirt, and blue jeans, which her mother described as ratty. She was possibly wearing tennis shoes, but no description was available at the time of the report, and that was from a news article. We all know now that she was wearing something that looks like Converse, I guess you could
Some
say.
Chucks.
Yeah, something like that. The girls began. The reason why I mentioned that it was her mother's shirt and the ratty blue jeans is because people have said that Abigail looked like she was dressed up or something like that. But her mother says no, those were all ratty clothes.
To me, it seemed like they were on vacation. You know, this is a 4-day weekend. We're running around. We're making the best of it, and that doesn't include getting all dressed up for nobody.
Right. They could have rolled out of bed wearing those same clothes.
Yeah.
You know.
I just wanted to say hi really quick to everyone that's bothered to say hi, Frank, everybody else. I don't want to interrupt, but I want to acknowledge that they said hi, and I appreciate that. Go ahead.
You know, I just want to bring up that I'm doing this on my phone, and all the letters that people are sending in the comments looks like ants to me, so I can't really read it. So
yeah, I'm putting them up as best I can. So if you want to see what's going on, just look up on the screen there, Bill. And
no, that's the thing. My screen is so tiny, I can barely read this stuff. So I apologize to anybody who's commenting if I don't see your comment.
All right. If you have a direct question for Bill, just hashtag his name and put it in large letters so I see it, and then I'll read it off for you.
Yeah, because audience participation is welcomed.
Definitely. I don't think I just feel like we all bring something to the table when it comes to info and how we share it. So
exactly, we have a whole team here, so we might as well utilize it.
Yep. That's right.
So after the description of the girls' clothing, I have the girls began hiking on the trails near Monon High Bridge over Deer Creek among woodland in remote Deer Creek Township, Carroll County, Indiana, USA. Holy crap, that's a mouthful. The next time I have is 2:05 p.m. Liberty posted a photo of the Monon High Bridge to her Snapchat. 2:07 p.m. Liberty posted a photo of Abigail walking on the Monon High Bridge to her Snapchat. All right, and this is where a lot of rumor and innuendo come in. So, and I'm going to mention each time this instance of it being a rumor happens. Oh, I see you got the pictures there. So the picture on the left was the first picture that she took at 2:05 p.m. And the picture on the right is the picture that Liberty took of Abigail at 2:07 p.m. Approximately. These are approximate times.
Sure.
Okay, so 2:13 p.m. Liberty begins, let's bring this up. 2:13 p.m. HLN reported that the timestamp on the video was 2:13 p.m. And it's entirely possible they mistook the day, February 13, 2:13, as a time by mistake.
Or just another strange coincidence with
the
numbers.
Or just another strange. I just wanted to throw that out there because 2:13, 2:13, it's weird.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. So, multiple occasions over multiple cases.
Yeah. So 2:13 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying there. I mean, the correlation between the 13th, particularly, not necessarily always February, but of these other murders and abductions, whatever, happening in Iowa, and I mean, a lot of stuff seems to happen on the 13th. I don't believe in weird coincidences. I mean, maybe there's some weird cult or something. I don't know. It is odd.
Yeah, it is odd. It is odd that day is 213, time is 213. Yeah. But anyways, so Libby begins filming what would be a 43-second video. In the video, the girls are talking about the kind of things girls talk about. At some point in the video, the girls mention they notice a creepy guy walking on the bridge. Becky, and what I just said is according to a screenshot of Becky Patty responding yes to the question if the girls mentioned a creepy guy.
That's interesting, Frank.
At some point during the recording, Abby asked Libby if the creepy guy was still following them. Libby responds, mm-hmm. And that's according to a screenshot of a message from an unknown person because the name is blacked out. At some point, Libby can be heard saying, there's nowhere else to go. And this is according to a person whose name was blacked out.
I hadn't heard that.
It appeared the girls started taking pictures for fun, but started the video as a precaution. And that information is according to Sheriff Lesenby. At some point in the video, a man is then seen walking on the high bridge towards the direction of Libby and presumably Abby. The man appears to be wearing a short-billed hat, something that could be described as a white scarf, which may be covering the lower half of their face, what appears to be a blue zip-up jacket or reversible jacket with a hood. Underneath that, what appears to be a brown shirt or maybe a leather fanny pack, worn blue jeans, and undetermined footwear, which may be boots. And this is according to my own observation and presumed witnesses. Towards the end of the video, a man can be heard saying, guys, and down the hill. At some point after down the hill is heard, a gun can be heard cocking. And that's according to a screenshot of a message from an unknown person. At some point, a neighbor who lives by the trail's entrance lets her dogs outside. Her dog is barking a lot, so she looked outside.
Let's listen to this for a minute real quick.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So this is the audio you're referring to.
I can't hear it. Can you play that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Nothing's coming through on my end.
Mine either.
Okay. Here, let me try this. I think I was sharing my screen without the audio. Let's try it again. Okay. There it is.
All right, I'll pick back up from
Which
there.
to me sounds different than the original, what they're calling the original ISP recording, which I've noted, I think, in an email. To me, I saw a lady one time, a local, say that to her it sounded like it wasn't saying down the hill. And at first it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like somebody almost with a speech impediment saying down there, down there. If you listen to the original, it really does sound like that. And
I have all. If you guys want to listen to all three, I have the original. I have the one that Fig. Yeah, Fig just released. So let's take a look.
Yeah, do them all.
All right.
Along with additional portions of the audio and video captured on Libby's phone. along with
All
additional
right,
portions.
that's that one. And here is the first audio that was ever released. And then the most recent official version.
How does the newest version sound the worst out of the three?
Right?
I do feel like you can hear "Down the Hill" more clearly in the
Yeah.
first and the third version you played. In the middle one that was played, it's a little more muddy, I think. And this
Well,
lady,
if you slow it down, you can hear him say, he says, "Guys, go down the hill."
sort of a
Yeah,
local,
it does
a
sound
local
like
kind of
that,
drawl almost.
which leads me to believe it could be two separate clips, making like a phantom word in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you could also be right, and he could be saying, "Guys, go down the hill,"
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because she was a local, said the voice matched this person. They had a, CSC background, if you will, on the record, and that they had a speech impediment where they talked like that. So I just, and that they look similar. I cannot remember the creator's show or for that matter who the lady was that said it, but I do remember seeing it. I just thought it was interesting. Go ahead, Bill.
No, it's all right. So I'll pick up back
Dog lady?
with the guys down the hill.
Okay.
So towards the end of the video, a man can be heard saying "guys" and "down the hill." At some point after "down the hill," a gun can be heard cocking. And again, that is according to a screenshot from a message from an unknown person. Well, unknown to me. At some point, a neighbor who lives by the trail's entrance lets her dog outside. Her dog is barking a lot, so she looked outside. She observed the girls passing by, followed by two boys with hoods up. The boys appeared to be around the girl's age, and that's according to a screenshot of a message from a person I don't know.
Thanks for the answer.
So, graphic content warning. We're going into what is presumed to have happened to the girls. So, if you do not want to hear this, maybe come back in 10, 15 minutes or so, or just mute. But we're going into what happened with the murders, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So, Abby was stabbed in the heart, an artery in her neck. Libby may have had the killer's DNA under her fingernails because she fought like hell. Libby's head was an inch away from being taken completely off. Abby was placed there on the ground like a doll, hood up, hands folded, and wearing the same clothes as the pic from the bridge. Libby was nude, and her top half was covered in leaves and sticks, almost like they were trying to cover her. The girls were not bounded. They were touching, but not bound together. The girls were not raped. Now, I haven't added the most recent information, but I believe, hold on. I see a Yahoo article here that says Delphi killer stage bodies may have taken souvenirs, cops say. And I believe a part of that same bit of information that was released, it says the girls may have been sexually assaulted. Either you guys recall that?
I don't recall that article. I would find it hard to believe in something like this that there wasn't some sort of sexual motive. I really would. But then again, depending on the motive overall, and maybe not. You know, if it's a revenge thing, staged look like something else. You know,
Well, to me,
whatever.
it's one of those things that they don't really know until after they get the coroner's report. So
Mhm.
that might be some information that they are holding on. They're holding
Sure.
close that the family wouldn't know. People that may have discovered the bodies may not be able to determine just
Right.
visually.
Mhm.
So that could be the piece that they're holding close. And when it's all said and done, they'll ask them, "Well, you're confessing to this crime. Did you sexually assault these girls?" And if they say no, that could be somebody that's much more interesting to them now.
Right. Also, you know, in that coroner's report, they would be able to deduce whether or not they were. And if there was no DNA, it could just be an indication that smart, organized murderer wore a condom. Quite frankly,
Yeah, and it happens.
I've read it, you know, before. So
And it also could be an attempted, it could still be
right,
the motive without it
and
actually happening.
could have been, you know, part of the thing that pushed somebody over the edge for not being accepted the way they wanted to be, and that rage kicked in, and here we are.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
those things.
if you subscribe to the catfish idea, somebody similar to a Keegan Klein, um, then it's almost as if they came down there and said, "Hey, I know I'm not, the model that you were expecting, but if you get to know me, like I promise, like just give me 15 minutes." And then maybe start talking, and then he starts getting, perverted and touchy, grabby feeling, and then
Hmm.
it just escalates from there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's plausible. It's certainly plausible. But it's interesting so far, Bill. I'm riveted.
Yeah, I just this week, since the last stream, started putting every single thing I could find in chronological order as I thought it would be.
Hmm.
But again, this is all from unverified, non-police released information. So
I
you have
think
to
some of
take
it has
everything
been
with a grain of
verified
salt.
overall. I think some of the facts you have on here have definitely been verified. Maybe it didn't come right from the police, but some of it could be open to conjecture. But I think a lot of stuff you stated has been verified, honestly.
Yeah,
At least
Yeah.
at least
yes,
through
but
corroboration, through strong rumored corroboration amongst known
Consensus.
good sources that are not liars or whatever.
so all right, I'll pick back up. The girls were not bounded; they were touching, but not bound together. The girls were not raped. Whoever did it targeted Libby for sure and knew what they were doing with Abby. It was personal with Libby. And then the coroner's report stated everything was over by 3:30. Now, everything that I had just said is according to screenshots of messages with who is presumed to be David Erskine, who is Anna Williams' brother. That's a revelation I just made. Is that Anna
Yeah,
Williams' brother?
yeah, yeah. I knew that. Uncle
That
Dave.
I just put together. It was
Hmm.
mind blowing because he's also the person that found the girls. You know.
Hmm. And
Oh
what
boy,
does he have a correlation with the Florida Fire Department, or is that someone else?
that I don't know.
Sleuth.
No, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
I know that this person was, I think, reserve firefighter.
Okay. Just not trying to tie too many things together. Just wanted to note that he was in the Florida Volunteer Fire Department, I think, but I don't want
Yeah,
to
I
miss.
remember hearing when I first heard about this case. I remember hearing something that it was a firefighter who found them. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure if David Erskine is a firefighter or if
maybe Chad could help out with that.
Anna and David's other sister's husband, who was the other person that found the girls,
I'm
was a
pretty sure he
firefighter.
is. In some capacity, he's a firefighter. I'm almost 100% on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I had heard early on, but I don't
Thanks,
want to
Frank.
say anything for sure just in case, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% that he was the one that discovered them.
Right.
I've heard so many different stories about that.
That goes back to how many times were they discovered, but that's a different rabbit hole.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so I'll continue on here. At some point, people who were at the trails seen the person who was responsible for the murders at the trail. This is according to an interview Alexis McAdams did with Jerry Holman. Now, I don't know whether to put this early on in the timeline, like they saw him before the murders or after, so I just put it where I put it. At some point, a person named Heath was working in the area, not far from it, that's in quotes, not far from it, and noticed some things he would later tell investigators. And that's according to a screenshot of a presumed WTHR article that I could not locate.
All right, let me go ahead and play that video that the article is based on. I have it handy here.
Okay,
Hey,
cool.
Deb. Nice to see you, Deb.
Because he was working near the trail the day the girls died.
And had no idea I was not that far from it, so it's bothered me. Well, there's some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation.
Things you witnessed?
Yes. You feel funny when you think that if I would have paid more attention to this or that, it has to be resolved. This is evil.
We ran into two other people who came to that bridge to pray. One of them, a man who drove 99 miles to get there.
I remember seeing that video, and that dude's an absolute badass. Look at that freaking horn he had.
Yeah, I have the article. I
They
have the
weren't
link to
talking
the
about
article
Heath.
too.
Heath didn't drive 99 miles. Who drove 99 miles?
It was just another gentleman, just some guy that was interested in helping out on the case.
I just find that interesting because when I was looking at a creator's content in terms of like these short videos, and they mentioned a Reddit post that came out before really any information came out on this case, like the same day after, and it was supposedly from a kid that was saying that he was picked up an hour outside of Delphi. Did you know what I'm talking about? And that and he's the one supposedly, according to this rumor, coined the phrase hiding in plain sight, which Doug Carter obviously used in the 2019 press conference. And this kid said, almost in an admirable sort of way about this guy, that he wished he would have remembered how he did things more because it was like impressive to him. So the kid had a bit of a screw loose, obviously, too, whether or not he was telling the truth. And he said, you're never going to catch this guy because you just wouldn't think it was him. He's hiding in plain sight. So saying that someone else came to that bridge from 99 miles away fits into the timeline of that rumor. In terms
And the
of
hitchhiker aspect as well, because there's a hitchhiker aspect to all this, and we know that because law enforcement at one time came out and said, did you see anybody hitchhiking around this time in this area? So
right, yeah, exactly. So and we all know that people tend to return to scenes of things. Now there's two people. They got video of that guy blowing the horn. They got video of the other guy. One. Who is
yeah,
this
check
other
this
guy?
out. Yeah, check this out. I think this might be the extended version. Let's see if I captured it here.
Police are hoping those three words will trigger the trip needed to find whoever murdered Abby Williams and Libby German. And tips have been flooding in over the last 24 hours.
In fact, those calls will now be handled by the FBI in Washington, D.C. They'll be listening for anything that could lead them to the killer. We've got David McAnally live for us in Delphi tonight at 5:30 with how else the investigation is changing over the last 24 hours. David?
Scott, we're seeing bigger tips. We're seeing more tips coming in, bigger reward fund in place, and also a trumpet call for prayer. Brad Heath brought all his breath to this bridge, sounding a sacred horn for prayer and healing in Delphi, while downtown at police headquarters, first images of the special call center where operators field tips around the clock. Almost 4,000 phone and emails so far, some generated by the suspect's photo released last week. But half the tips came in just the last 24 hours, since police released the Down the Hill audio. Audio of the suspect, police say, recorded by victim Libby German on her cell phone. Last night, folks from Delphi and around the area met in song and prayer and unity at the courthouse to remember Libby and her friend Abby Williams. Thanks to local donors, including folks like these, a bank, local businesses, the FBI, and more, state police say the reward is now $50,000. And nationwide, the FBI has posted messages about the case on 6,000 electronic billboards in 46 states. And tonight on the bridge across 25, Brad Heath blows the sacred shofar.
Specific directions from the Lord to come and pray over this bridge today. Well, the Bible says in Nehemiah, when you hear the sound of the trumpet, the Lord begins to fight for his people, and the people of Delphi need the Lord to fight for us in this time, this trying time.
Tonight on the Night Beat, we talk more with Brad about something else that drew him out to that bridge, something that happened to him on the day that those girls disappeared. Also, we just talked to Tony Slocum with Indiana State Police, Public Information Officer, asked him why move the call center to Washington. Basically, it boils down to that kind of work is done all the time at that center, and while it was done very well and very smoothly here, they are set up to handle those kinds of things. But if you're calling in, you'll use the same number, same contacts, all of that, and you'll be dealt with in
It's
the
not
same
going to show
way.
it.
There might be a little bit of interactive phone. You might have to push a button or so to leave that tip, but apparently the system guides you through it very smoothly. We'll have more tonight on Night Beat. Back to you, Scott and Ann.
All right, hopefully one.
But I'm pretty sure he was referring to the guy that was there with Brad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I never thought about it until I just heard that small clip that said only 2 people showed up, and one drove 99 miles. I mean, I don't know why it sticks out to me. Could be 0 and mean nothing, but I just haven't heard it talked about before.
Yep. Well, that's the stuff I have for Brad. I'll send you the link to the actual article that you mentioned. I have the link.
Yeah, if you could please, I'd like to add any pertinent information to the timeline.
You got it.
All right, so I'll pick off right where we left off. If you guys are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm going to take 2 minutes. My family's getting ready to hit the road back to Chicago. I want to give them a hug and a kiss, say goodbye really quick, if you guys don't mind. So I'm going to mute myself, and I'll be back in just a minute.
All right,
Sure.
see you in a sec.
Thank you. However I do that.
So I'll go to the chat. I'll go to the chat real quick.
All right, yeah. I'm curious to see what they think of everything we talked about so far.
There's in the chat, it says, can you guys talk about John Weaver? I never seemed to hear about who he was.
So you're going to have to refresh my memory on John Weaver.
John Weaver is the guy who was mentioned on the radio chatter as finding the bodies or stating that they found the bodies in the water.
Now, who is John Weaver? Was he a volunteer, firefighter, police officer?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. We found, a couple of John Weavers that kind of fit the bill, but I can't put my thumb on it for sure.
Yeah,
there's a guy that lives at the time, I think at one point, I think like 2007, at some point was a resident of Delphi and a firefighter. But then you have another person who's close by, John Weaver, that was living in Kokomo, I believe. So nobody really knows.
So do you know where the name John Weaver originated from?
I'm assuming radio chatter.
Something on the scanner?
Yeah, the radio chatter.
Is there audio of that?
Yeah, I have.
To us?
Yeah, I have audio of that.
Because I do remember hearing the name John Weaver, but I have not dug into or gone into that rabbit hole yet.
I should. Let me see. Radio chatter, undergarments, cigarette butts. Okay.
Because just when I think I've wrapped my head around all of this, a name like John Weaver pops up and just pops my balloon,
All right. So check this out here. Let me know if you can't hear this right away. As soon as you see it come up on the screen.
Send it.
I found an item of interest under the railroad bridge.
Copy that. Go ahead and describe it to me.
Girl running.
Good copy. Thank you. Stand by. Up to 515.
Go ahead.
It's on their way with evidence back, so just stand by there. They're on their way. They're coming through the water, by the way.
There's at least 2 pieces of evidence so far.
So you found more? What's the second thing you found? Because I'm only sending one evidence back.
I have a cigarette butt in the water that is less than 2 or 3 days old.
Okay, good copy.
Thanks, Abby's grandma.
Part 15 squad 2.
All right, so I wasn't able to hear
Send it.
barely anything they said. So could you?
Here, let me fast forward it.
Under the railroad bridge.
I got to pinpoint it, and then I'll turn it up for you.
Copy that. Go ahead and describe it to me. They're coming through the water.
There's at least 2 pieces of evidence.
So you found more? What's the second back?
I have a cigarette butt in the water that is.
You know what? I don't think I captured it on this one. I'll have to find it.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we can move on and until you find that, or we can cover it on another show.
Yeah, and basically what it says is we're getting word that they were found in the water, and can you confirm that? And they say no confirmation of that. And then they ask, well, and then the guy says, well, just FYI, it was a John Weaver who provided that information.
Right. So a little bit later on in this timeline, maybe we can fit John Weaver into that. Because I got a lot more information regarding the search. Welcome back, Derek.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Derek.
Thanks. Hey, Sleuth.
So while you were gone, we were briefly discussing John Weaver.
Oh yeah. JW.
I don't know too much about the guy. What was the question the commenter had asked?
How come we don't ever mention John Weaver? And I talk about him all the time.
Not to mention there's so many to talk about. It's hard to you don't want to get tunnel vision, but yeah, he definitely comes across radars here and there. I've heard of him. I don't know much about him myself. Quite frankly, Bill, I mean, you got the detail on this thing. Like I'm learning right now, so I'll just be quiet and listen.
Yeah, I'm learning right along with you. I mean, a lot of this information that I'm pulling up here, I've learned in the past week since the last stream I did with Sleuth.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so hold on one. All right, sorry, I had to plug my phone in. Losing battery here. All right, I'm going to pick up where I left off. Coroner's report said everything was over by 3:30. At some point, people who were at the trails seen the person who was responsible for the murders at the trails. At some point, a person named Heath was working in the area. All right, we already went through that. At some point, one of the people who were at the trails seen the person responsible for the murders leaving wearing a short-billed hat and a scarf, but did not observe the man wearing the blue jacket. So
let's repeat that. Can we repeat that line?
Yes. At some point, one of the people who were at the trails seen the person responsible for the murders leaving. and he was wearing a short-billed hat and a scarf, but did not observe the man wearing the blue jacket.
And just for the record, because I might have missed that. Where's that coming from in terms of info? Like what
It
sources?
is according to a screenshot from an unknown person.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Maybe Sleuth might have that screenshot. He could show you.
I've seen it. I've
I
seen
mean,
it.
I
don't
heard that.
know.
But, you know, I think I heard that before. That's interesting. That's wow.
Yeah, I think they even have a sketch of it. I think sometimes you'll see a sketch where a guy has his face covered.
And all right. So after that, at some point, two friends and Cheyenne. Should I just say first name?
Yeah.
Sleuth?
First names are good, right?
Yeah, let me pull up those images, by the way, too.
Okay. So just use her first name on that one.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, everybody knows who Cheyenne is and her images.
All right. I'm more comfortable just using first names. So
yeah, I don't even know what her last name is.
It's in the screenshots of her Facebook stuff. So
yeah, I don't have any of that. I'm not going to show any of that stuff.
Okay. So at some point, two friends of Cheyenne, who are a couple, are at the high bridge before she gets there. Now, I'm not sure when they arrived, but in a second here, you're gonna know why that's important.
What time did Cheyenne get there?
I'm coming right up to that in here in a minute.
Sorry. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I'm
on the edge of my seat, man.
So at 2 points, friends of Cheyenne's are already at the high bridge. Then they're a couple. And that's according to a screenshot of a person presumed to be Cheyenne, a person who claims to have been on the trails. At 2:50 p.m., Cheyenne gets out of her car and walks towards the high bridge around the time she had a missed call from a telemarketer. So she noticed missed call telemarketer as she's walking from her car to the high bridge. So around 2:50, she gets there. At some point, Cheyenne sees the couple who she is friends with at the high bridge. So the girls are no longer near the bridge by 2:50. And that's according to a screenshot of a person presumed to be Cheyenne, a person who claims to have been on the trails. And Sleuth just had a picture up there that she took, so we know she was there.
Right.
And then the next thing I have is that
both of these are images that she posted as soon as she got back to her vehicle, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yep, and that's going to come up here in a minute. So I'm going to skip by some of this stuff because it was covered on the last stream. Libby's father, Derek, calls her.
So that picture was taken at 2:50 that day. Right there.
About 2:50.
It's a powerful picture to me then.
I think it's argued it could be anywhere. It's my understanding that she took these images anywhere between 3:15 and 3:50.
Okay.
Right,
but I could be wrong.
Where were we? Blah blah blah. Cheyenne sees a couple.
All right, she got there at 2:50. Okay,
all right, so 2:50 p.m. Cheyenne gets out. Missed call from telemarketer. At some point, Cheyenne sees the couple who she is friends with at the high bridge. 3:11. Derek calls Libby as he's about to drive over Wilson Bridge. Gets no answer. 3:14. Liberty's father, Derek, arrives in the parking lot. Calls the girls.
At the Mears lot or the Freedom lot?
Says Liberty's father, Derek, arrived at the parking area by the trailhead as planned to pick the girls up.
Well, that's not specific enough. Not
so
from you.
Imagine it's the trailhead where they were dropped off.
Okay.
The same one.
Okay.
That's just a guess, though. Derek comes to where the trail forks. The 501 trail leading to the high bridge being one way, and the 505 trail that leads to the creek bed the other way. At this point, Derek sees a man wearing a flannel shirt who was coming from the 501 trail. Derek asked the man, "Did you happen to see two girls up there?" And the man replied, "No, I did not, but there's a couple on the bridge. Cheyenne's friends." My guess.
Huh.
3:30 p.m. Derek calls Becky and tells her Libby won't answer. Becky and Libby's Aunt Tara began calling and texting Libby's phone. Derek walks down the trail leading to the Freedom Bridge after arriving back where the trail forks. After not seeing the girls there, he turns around and heads back to the intersection, passing the man in the flannel shirt along his way back. 3:49 p.m. After Cheyenne got to the end of the high bridge, she turned around and started walking on her way back. And she takes a picture of the high bridge, and that was one of the pictures that Sleuth had just had on the screen. I believe it's the one where it looks like she's sitting down on one of those side platforms, kind of, or maybe off to the side.
Wonder which side that was.
About
Which one?
4 p.m. I'm sorry, what's that?
Which one? Cheyenne's images?
Yeah, it's the one where it looks like she's kind of like sitting on the side of the bridge.
Yeah, maybe
That's
looking
the one
east or
she
west.
takes as he's leaving.
Okay,
And that
all
is
right.
at
I'll pull it back up.
3:49 p.m. So she's there roughly around 2:50, something like that. She's been there an hour at this point, and she's been mostly near the bridge. So we know that from 2:50 to around 3:49, the girls were not near the bridge. If it is to be believed what Cheyenne is saying.
Getting some echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Getting some echo. Not sure where it's coming from.
I'm not getting any echo.
Really? Okay, that's better.
I was hearing a little echo myself.
It could be in my head. It's
No,
probably just
there's definitely an echo issue.
If the chat can't hear it, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Might just be a StreamYard thing. But anyways, picking up here at 4 p.m., Derek returns to his car in the parking lot. Becky starts getting the feeling that something isn't right, so she and Tara decides to leave to go look for the girls. Tara leaves to head to the trails. Becky calls her husband Mike and informs him of the situation. Mike says he'll leave work early and meet Becky there. Becky calls Kelsey, who is at her boyfriend's house, and informed her of the situation. Kelsey says she'll see if she can get her work shift delayed by a few hours. Kelsey leaves her boyfriend's house and starts heading towards the trails. As Becky is about to leave, her son, Libby's uncle Cody, pulls up into the driveway. Becky informs Cody of the situation, and Cody says he'll go with her. Becky and Cody drive down the two routes the girls might have taken had they decided to walk home. Tara arrives at the trails. Tara says there were a few kids there. Let me say that again. Sorry, fat tongue. Tara says there were a few kids that she knew that went to school with Libby that were under the bridge. When did she see the kids? I know she's walking the trails and at some point sees them, but I just, if you could pinpoint that down, it might help.
Well, I think what's going on with Tara, this is my interpretation, is that she doesn't have to be there to know. You know, she's so connected with what's going on with these young kids because she has her kids, the relatives of Libby, who always go to the bridge, and she said multiple occasions that she's seen kids there, and it's kind of like the place to go. And even her kids wanted to be there that day. So I think she just had a good idea or an understanding enough to know that there was a bunch of kids there.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Especially if she has kids, then she's definitely in the loop when it concerns certain things like that. Shall I continue?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So Derek gets out of his car and gets into his sister Tara's car. He explains to Tara the details of where and what he has searched on the trail so far. They briefly wait in the car for Becky and Mike to arrive so they can plan out who will search where and cover more ground. Becky and Cody arrive at the trails. There isn't a spot to park in the parking lot, so they park in a nearby ditch. Family members, I'm assuming it's Cody.
Can we
And
just for a second? I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Bill. I just need to know the time that they had to park in that ditch again. I missed that. I want to know how long it took
I have
before everything was
around
filled
4
up.
p.m. all this stuff that I'm explaining.
Yeah, I would say anywhere between 4 and 4:30 is my understanding.
So the lot is filled up with people recreating at the bridge or searching for the girls at this point.
Recreating.
Yeah,
Okay.
just there at the bridge hanging out. At this point, they don't even know if the girls are missing. They just think they might be messing around or something, or maybe fell and got hurt.
Parking lots are full at 4 to 4:30. I find that interesting.
And Derek, I'll have Sleuth send you my email. And we can go. I can show you some of the stuff that I've been showing Sleuth, and so we can compare notes or whatnot.
I would love that.
All right, so
we should go down there. We should go to Delphi together and do that day of live sleuthing.
Yeah, so the thing is, I'm going to be going in September. I don't have a day pinpointed just yet, but if you're available in September, I'd love it to meet you down there. I'd be way more comfortable going with another person.
Delivering at the same pizza place for 15 years. I definitely have to have some sort of benefits that I want, and time off that I want is one of those benefits. So you let me know when, and if I can make it happen financially, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I have plans, in cement.
Sure. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry, we can talk.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Feel free to stop me at any point. That's what we're here for. So, anyway, so let me see. Where were we? Tara arrives at the trails. Derek gets out of his car. Becky and Cody arrive. Family members. So during that clip that we played last time, where it says everything, there's a point where the video cuts out. So I don't know exactly what they're saying, but at some point, family members, who I think is Cody and possibly Kelsey, asked neighbors in the area if they had seen the girls. And at some point, Kelsey arrives at the trails. What's that? I'm sorry.
I believe that Kelsey, along with Cody, crossed the bridge and went and asked for permission to, I'm not sure if it was all the houses, but she did mention asking permission if they could search back there.
Good memory, because that's literally the next thing. At some point after Kelsey arrived, she and her uncle Cody cross the high bridge and arrive at the southeast end. They can be seen, or they can see down a hill to a private driveway. They spend 20 to 30 minutes yelling the girls' names from there, but hear no response. From this location, Kelsey calls Libby's phone. She believes the call went through because she can hear it ring on her end of the phone, but Kelsey does not hear it ringing in the area. Kelsey's personal belief was the trail was quiet enough that if the phone had been near where she was standing, she would have heard it ringing. So that's literally the next thing. So good memory. At some point, as they walk, Becky calls the cell phone company, AT&T, and asks if they could ping Libby's phone. AT&T says no because of legal reasons. Becky then asks about apps like Find My Phone and Find My Droid, but because Libby didn't have either of those apps installed on her phone and a misunderstanding of that information, nothing ever comes of it. 5 p.m., the vehicle described as a car by Sergeant Kim Riley that was parked outside of the abandoned CPS DCS building on County Route 300 North next to the Hoosier Heartland is gone. So from noon to 5, that car was observed at the abandoned CPS DCS building.
A mystery.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, what a mystery. And I find it I find it important that law enforcement come back. They need to come back and kind of reiterate what they meant, or kind of go over this information and clarify it, because it's
Good luck.
words are powerful, and
Yeah.
Oh
they're
my
very
God.
misleading.
Especially when it's concerning such an important detail as what they think may be an escape vehicle.
Yeah, we shouldn't be arguing over what they meant, or what they meant by saying a certain word. We should
Or
be
even what the
past that.
color, like, it's still, is it red? Is it white? I mean, I've heard both.
It's
You
a
know,
The only
driver.
thing I found in doing my research is that it was described as a car by
Yeah,
Sergeant
I mean,
Miley.
it's very
are they not
descriptive. Yeah.
are they not worried? They asked for the driver. They
It
have
had the
no
standard four
concern with the
wheels on
car.
it, Bill.
I'm
Something with
sorry,
four
what?
wheels. I said it had the standard four wheels on it then. It's
That I
like,
don't know. Yeah, I mean,
a kindergartner could give a better description of. I mean, it's almost like they're playing games too, and which I emailed Sleuth about privately. Just. But I'll let you finish the timeline. But I mean,
no.
just goes.
What you're saying is
Just a
you
brief
think they're
point. It
fishing
goes. Go ahead.
rather than
Well,
actually having a detail. They're just fishing.
well,
for
let me make a
information.
comment on this part here. I think the reason they don't give you the description of the vehicle is it might be a common vehicle. They don't
Mhm.
have a specific license plate anyway. So for them to give out this the details of the vehicle that's very common, everybody with that vehicle is going to be tipped in, and then it's going to do more harm than good. So
Mhm.
what they're looking for anyway, because they're not even sure if it's the owner of a vehicle. Did they steal the vehicle? Um, did the person who owns the vehicle, are they aware that somebody's in their vehicle? So they want the driver of that vehicle.
And not just that, by not giving out those little details of the color, the make, the model, that's going to be private information that if it lines up with their POI is gonna not be it's gonna be a lot more locked in terms of evidence.
And
Good point.
imagine if
So-
that
Damn. Good
imagine
point.
if that hitchhiker story is true. Doesn't this information all fit in? Like the
I can't
hitchhiker
put
is the
anything
second.
together. You got to
It's
put
like
it together for me.
it could be just a disgusting rumor, but if it is true, they're looking for the driver, and they're also looking for a hitchhiker. They have an older sketch and they have a younger looking sketch. What if this
Mhm.
is all the like information that we're missing, and what if that story is like legit?
Right. So that's creepy. That's really weird and creepy.
So my thoughts on this are they
That's
don't
goosebump
have
stuff.
any other description of the vehicle other than it is a car, because that's something they might release early on while
Memory too.
it's still fresh in people's mind.
Yeah, maybe the
Because if
witness
they release this
couldn't remember
information
the
now,
vehicle.
what good is it? Because nobody's going to remember that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking it could play a part too, just memory. Maybe somebody was like, "I know that it was a car, but I wish I could tell you more, but that's all I really can remember."
Right. Or I'm wondering if perhaps they have grainy surveillance footage from like down the street diagonally or something, like a few pixels of a vehicle.
Well, they do
Or
don't they have grainy footage via satellite?
yeah, I was just gonna say that. Good call, Derek.
And
Yep.
Yeah,
Sleuth, do you have that?
there was a YouTuber who like literally only made one video, and the one video was about satellite footage or something like that.
And then they disappeared. Coincidental.
Yeah, well, he said in the video, I don't intend to continue making YouTube videos. This is just one thing I wanted to do.
Oh,
Something along those lines, if I recall
I
correctly.
kind of dig that actually.
But anyways, the information that he found, the satellite photo, was already found by somebody else previously who had paid for it, but this guy ended up getting the image for free, something along those lines.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, but it's super grainy. It's like I think it's white, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
I
I
think
recall
so too,
correctly,
but-
it did look like a few pixels of a white vehicle.
Oh, can you put Frank's comment back up? I
Yeah,
didn't get
yeah.
that.
I just saw Frank. I just want to say what's up, Frank. He's a great commenter.
Teasing. I can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah, keep us filled in. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
dig it.
All right, so I'm gonna pick back up here.
Yeah.
5 p.m. Abandoned vehicles gone, or a vehicle by abandoned building is gone. Jesus, they need to fix that. 5:15 p.m. Mike, about 5:15 p.m. Mike arrives at the trails. Becky tells Mike they have to call the police. About 5:20 p.m., Mike calls the police to report Abigail and Liberty missing. 5:25. This is about 5:25 or 5:50, somewhere in this time frame. There's a little bit of conflicting information, but everything I'm about to read is within the 5:25, 5:50 area.
All right, real quick. Let's take a quick little break. I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to run to the restroom, and I'm going to be right back.
All right, cool.
Concern tonight as investigators search for whoever killed these two Delphi teens.
Tonight, CBS 4 is speaking exclusively with the owner of the property where the two girls were found dead. Alexis McAdams is live in Delphi with more on that and the investigation. Alexis.
That's right, Bob, Debbie. This investigation is active and ongoing. Tonight, investigators are telling us they're using every resource they have to search Carroll County and surrounding areas to find the suspect or suspects who killed these two teenage girls. As you mentioned, we talk exclusively tonight with the owner of the 40 acres here behind me. That is private property, and that's where those girls' bodies were found yesterday afternoon. Tonight, he tells us a few things about where those bodies were found and some of the things surrounding the investigation, but also says that the man who found those bodies was a volunteer who lives nearby. 24 hours after two bodies were found in a wooded area in Delphi, a coroner confirms the town's worst fears. The bodies belong to 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, who were both last seen hiking in that area on a day off from school. We now know the two girls were murdered, and their killer is still out there.
We have nobody in custody at this time. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, there is somebody out there that did this horrendous crime.
As Alexis McAdams joins us now after walking the property where those girls were found.
And actually, yeah, this is the first time I think that we're talking about this.
Yeah, we were actually down in that area today for the very first time. We were down there with the property owner, Ron Logan, and this is his 40-acre private lot behind me. To trek down to the area where these girls were found, it was so steep down a ravine, it was really actually hard to keep our footing. But Logan showed us for the very first time that crime scene. Tonight, investigators have lifted the crime scene tape from this area and tell us they're going through hundreds of tips trying to find any information that could lead to a possible suspect or suspects in this double murder investigation. This is where the girls were found. It's less than half a mile from the Monon High Bridge where they were last seen on Monday. Officers still processing evidence that they gathered here. They were out here for hours ever since those girls went missing. The scene may be cleared tonight, but Logan tells me his property won't ever be the same.
I want to show you everything, how they could have got here. Because you're going to be as confused as I am. How did these two little girls get here from the high bridge with all this rough terrain without somebody making them come here? The high bridge is right.
Hey Dave, what YouTube channel is that?
And I have a question for Sleuth too.
Okay.
I just wanted you to roll back that particular piece you were playing around the 106 mark during the first part of the news report. I happened to catch on the ticker at the bottom, being that this is an early report, it was something about a molestation and apps on something that I've never seen before. So I just caught that and I don't know what it was saying. I'd like to reread the ticker at the bottom of that news report at about the 106 mark.
Yeah, back a little bit.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit after that. Maybe it's 107 or here we go.
24.
You want me to keep going?
There's somebody impersonating
Hours
police
after
officer
two
in
bodies
11,
were found in a wooded area in Delphi, a coroner confirms the town's worst fears. 24 hours after it also says
you
that
had it on the screen for a brief second there.
The man who found those bodies was a volunteer who lives nearby. 24 hours after two bodies were found in a wooded area in Delphi, a coroner confirms the town's worst fears. The bodies belong to 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, who were both last seen hiking in that area on a day off from school.
Accused of molesting teen. It was coming across there.
We now know the two girls were murdered, and their killer
they met through.
is still out there.
We have nobody in.
And
Wow. Good eye.
that's interesting to me.
Yeah, good eye, man. I wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have seen that if you hadn't mentioned it.
Bloomington. It's funny because
Bloomington.
I've been
Not too
covering
far away from
Bloomington.
Delphi.
I covered Bloomington and some incidents, some ski mask incidents on some trails where women were attacked. Very similar. They were tied up.
Maybe going back and looking at some of the very first news reports and watching the ticker at the bottom now that, that's been a thing for several years since basically 9/11. Everyone does it. Maybe there would be a few details or coincidences, let's say, between and the news themselves are trying to sort of put things together in an honest way. And maybe you could like that. You could glean even more things. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
might
that
be a
was
rabbit
interesting.
hole worth diving down.
So go ahead. Thanks, Sleuth, for doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, so let's see. All right, so where I left off was this is happening around 5:25, 5:50. There's conflicting timelines here, so it's within the 5:25, 5:50 range. Becky tells Mike she's been trying to get a hold of Abby's mother, Anna. Becky tells Mike she is going to leave to try to find her. Becky drives to Anna's house, and she's informed that Anna is at work. Becky then leaves and starts driving towards Anna's work. The police arrived quickly after Mike called to report the girls missing. The police were described as showing up right away. Some family members used social media to ask for volunteers to help in the search. Mike calls Becky and tells her that the police requested that she and Anna go to the police station to file missing persons reports on the girls. It's just a formality to make sure the process goes as quick as they can make it go.
Sure.
Anna, who was at work, had turned her
Which
phone.
chill out some of those ridiculous rumors that about how involved some people are and blah blah blah. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, a family that cares does that right away. This is a family that cares. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep. Anna, who was at work and had her phone turned off, turns it on during a break and sees all the texts and calls. Anna calls Becky back, and Becky informs her of the situation. They both agree to meet at the police station. And this is around 6 p.m. A massive search of the area began, led by local police, state police, and the fire department. A drone was used during the search, and hundreds of people, including police, firefighters, DNR officers. What's a DNR officer? If anybody knows.
Department of Natural Resources.
Oh, okay.
They usually have a sidearm. They usually have an official car, and they're legally, police officers for sure. I know because one saved my life once. We can go into that story another time.
Yes, I'd like to hear that story. So firefighters, police, DNR officers, family, friends, and residents of the surrounding community searched for the girls into the night. As many as 100 volunteers helped in the search. The fire station is used as a staging ground for volunteers. Together, they search the trail and surrounding area. Kelsey goes to the police station where they ask her about what she remembers from dropping the girls off earlier. Kelsey also shows the police the two Snapchats posted by Libby's story, or posted to Libby's story. So, a commenter in the last stream we did together said something about Kelsey not going to the police or something along those lines. So around 6 p.m., Kelsey goes to the police station. So I hope that clears things up for that commenter.
Yeah, I think it was Kelsey and Mike together, right?
That I'm not sure of. If you can find an article, send that to me and I'll add it.
Yeah, I think I have a video where I think they went down there together and scooped everything up. Because a lot of the stuff that Libby was on, I'm assuming, belonged to her grandparents, wasn't her property, but she probably used it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this leads me right to the next thing. At some point, Mike returns to the house to gather all electronics, iPads or iPods or computers or anything electronic, and the relevant cell phone information, so the police could start requesting AT&T to ping Libby's phone. So it's probably around that same time Kelsey goes to the police station. They go pick up the stuff and bring it to. They might have done all this stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm imagining. All right, 8:43 p.m. WLFI reporter Alexis Moberger is at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office reporting. So this is the first person reporting. So this
3 a.m.
Yeah, 8:43 p.m.
Oh, because there's a report from 3 a.m. The 14th.
This would be 8:43 p.m. the 13th. I think
So-
is what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
there was an
Sorry.
article posted, and then it was posted on their Facebook. The article was posted to their Facebook, and the Facebook post has a timestamp of 8:43 p.m.
Yeah,
So
that was a
it's
brain
sometime
fart. Sorry.
before
Ignore
8:43.
me. Yeah, ignore me on that one.
I'm sorry, what's that?
No, I was saying just ignore me on that one.
Oh, okay, because you're talking about a little bit further down the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alexis Moberger could potentially be the person that Mike Patty knew that worked for the news, because she is the first person to be reporting on this. But she's not at the trail. She's at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. But she does eventually make her way down to the trail shortly after this. And
you said Mike Patty knows her, like personally, or?
yeah, Mike Patty at one point said that he
I don't know why
knew
that- I just
somebody
was
who
curious.
worked for the news, and he had called them and they showed up right away. I'm not for
Okay.
certain that it's Alexis Moberger. It could be another guy who works for WRTV. These are just guesses.
Let me step in real quick, because I think the person that he knew was not media. To correct it, I believe it was somebody in law enforcement that he knew.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. I'm putting that down in my notes, and that's something I'm going to do some pretty heavy research on, because I want to pinpoint that. Not that it really matters, I think, but I don't know. That little stuff like that bugs me.
No, I like these little details, man. It's making it super interesting in the way that you put it all together. It's just fascinating.
I'm just taking facts and putting them where they belong in the timeline, or where I think they might belong in the timeline. So, and again, a lot of this stuff is rumor, speculation, innuendo, and whatnot.
Sure.
All right. So, it could be early. It could be earlier than the 8:43, because the link was posted to the WLFI Facebook page at 8:43. So it probably has to be before 8:43 when she recorded this in front of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. But anyways, moving on. 10:29 p.m. WRTV reporter reports the girls' cell phones are either dead or turned off. So I think they called these girls' phones so many times it killed the battery faster than it might have normally been killed. You know what I mean?
Okay. That was a 10:29. All right.
10:29, correct. And then, all right, now we're getting into the 14th at 12 a.m. The search is officially called off due to darkness and concern for volunteer safety. Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lesenby, based on the information given by family and friends, says in a news release that there is no reason to suspect foul play or to believe the girls are in immediate danger. The biggest concern is exposure to the elements. Officers looked into issuing an Amber Alert, but were informed this incident does not meet the criteria. The search is set to resume in the morning. The family and volunteers from the community continued to search throughout the night, despite the search being called off. A volunteer said that both sides of the creek bed were searched. That's I don't know if you have that clip, but it's the one where the guy says, "Search both sides of the creek bed." Where were we? At some point, Mike brings Becky home so she can sleep. As they drive home, they see flashlights and lots of people everywhere. At some point after dropping Becky off at home, Mike returns to the trails to continue searching. 1 a.m.
Yeah, B's 9. I wish I knew that. Sorry.
What's that?
I was just responding. So Bees9 said it'd be real interesting to know who the two kids were the dog lady saw.
If that's even true, that came from one of those blacked out name screenshot deals.
Oh, all right. Well, still.
Yeah, that is curious though.
But that was going.
It does,
Yeah.
if it is true, it does add plausibility to Sleuth's mean teen theory.
Definitely, which I think has been a plausible theory the whole time.
Yep. All right, so that brings us to 1 a.m. At some point, Naomi Peskovitz does an interview with Mike. 2 a.m., two volunteers, and this is curious here. Two volunteers claim to have heard screams of horror coming from the other side of the bridge around the curve to the right of the river under the high bridge. When they called the police, they were told that all of the officers were busy at the moment and to call back if they hear anything else. And this is all according to a screenshot of a presumed volunteer who had been helping search for the girls along with a friend since 8 p.m. until the girls were found the next day.
So,
I remember some. Yeah, let's talk about that.
I just want to know. So at 2 a.m. on the 14th, someone
yes, this is
called
the
the
very
police and said they heard
hours of the
screams,
I'm
and
sorry,
the
go ahead.
police said they were busy.
Yeah, it says when they called the police, they were told that all of the officers were busy at the moment and to call back if they hear anything else.
That's either a huge conspiracy or bullshit, one or the other. I don't know which one it is, but if it's true, it's mind-blowing. If it's not true, it's BS.
I think what could have happened is because the source is simply just a post on Facebook. Nobody specifically, nobody in particular. So it could be true. They could have acted like they didn't take it seriously, and they can't report, that they have officers out there if they're not on duty or whatever. But they could have simply made a call, like, "Did you hear that?" And then most people that debunked it local say that's typical of like certain animals that are in that area.
Foxes make the craziest sounds.
Again, though, I'll say I can't tell you now. I'm not usually into these, but since I've started watching it's led me on to a few other cases, and in a lot of them, or more than one for sure, the people that realized they heard the cries and the death basically of humans, mistaken it in nature and for the sound of wild animals. It wouldn't be the first time that happened. So I guess I think it's worth noting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. So this brings us next to 4 a.m. WTHR reporter Naomi Peskovitz is at the trails doing a live report. And I believe 4 a.m. is when the news starts flooding. I believe you had said that last stream we did, Sleuth.
Yeah.
And that's around where we left off too. So this literally could stand in as part 2 right here. So 4:32 a.m. WTHR reporter Naomi Peskovitz is at the trails doing a live report, and also the interview with Mike airs. 6 a.m. WTHR reporter Naomi Peskovitz is at the trails. They re-aired the Mike interview, and she shows lights in the woods off in the distance.
Lynn's asking, was there a cell phone ping, or she's saying actually there's a cell phone ping at 2 a.m.? Yes, no?
Last thing I have about a ping was
10:29.
Yeah, around is
That's what you.
when Mike goes back home and grabs all the stuff and to start getting stuff ready for AT&T to do the ping, and that's earlier in the day. That's around 6 p.m. So
okay.
it could have been as early as like 6:30 that the ping started.
I mean, I think though what Lynn's saying is it was as late as 2 a.m. on February 14th, Lynn, right? And if so, where are we getting that info? Because I don't know if it's new to me, but I definitely want to note it.
So I'm sorry. What exactly are you asking again? I'm sorry.
If you look at the screen,
ping.
Yeah.
What was
2
that?
a.m. or 2 p.m.?
2 a.m. is where we were at. Where 2 a.m. the volunteers claimed to hear a scream. 4 a.m. reporter Peskovitz live from trail. 4:32 Peskovitz.
Thank you, Don.
Interview with Mike. 6 a.m. re-aired Mike interview. Shows lights in the woods. I don't
Okay,
have anything
just
on here
briefly,
about
Bill, because I know you
what
can't.
exactly they ping the phones. All I have is information about them gathering stuff for them to ping the phones.
And I know you can't see the comments very well on the phone. I'm just going to say, Don, who I see around here a lot, seems to know kind of. He says at 2:30 a.m. Per Tobe Lesenby on HLN said that on the 14th there was a ping to Libby's phone. So I just wanted to note that in case you didn't have that on your timeline, or it's something you could investigate for sure.
Yeah, I'm marking it down in my notes here to look into it.
That was all. That's all I wanted to get out there. Go ahead.
So I'm trying to find the point where they said that the phones were turned off or the phones are dead. So that's at 10:29 p.m. WRTV reports that the girls' cell phones are either dead or turned off. So I don't know how they're pinging the phones if the phones are dead.
Well,
that's even
Mike, I know Mike
happened.
makes a comment. He gives that information in an interview. It's not hard to get to. He gives the exact time frame because I believe they did reach out to AT&T, or there were certain things law enforcement might have been able to do. I'm not sure, but he did get that information from when the phone shut off.
Interesting. Yes, I'm gonna have to track that down and put it into the timeline and see how it fits and what it looks like in regards to the information around it. Interesting. All right, so where was I? Okay, so 6 a.m. WTHR reporter Naima Peskovitz is at the trails. They re-air the interview with Mike, and they show lights in the woods around them. Around the 6 p.m. or 6 a.m., the two volunteers who had heard screams of horror at 2 a.m. said they started hearing people show up and shouting the girl's name again.
That's interesting. I got to break in here, folks. I want to say thank you, Sleuth, for having me on. Bill, Sleuth, if you could, I don't know, give Bill my email or vice versa, something like that.
Sure.
I do have to go bring the pizza to the people in the fine town of Kalamazoo, and that's my first job here, so I'm gonna do that. I really had a lot of fun listening to, not fun, but I found it really very informative to this point, and I'll be happy to later on check out the replay at the end here. I'll be excited to hear it. But yeah, I wouldn't mind talking to you, Bill, off air, whatever. And Sleuth, as always, top notch act that you are. Thanks for having me on. And it's a, I don't know if I bring anything, but I sure do enjoy sitting here thinking that I do. I guess so. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
Pleasure's all on this side.
It's good getting to talk to you, get to know you a little bit. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, we're actually gonna start wrapping it up here in about. Do you have 3 minutes to spare, and we won't walk out of here like hobos?
Sure. I didn't want to rush you guys along just because I got to go to work.
No, we're at the 1 hour and a half mark. I had no clue.
It flew by. It flew by.
So we'll let Bill get the final word here, and then we'll say goodnight.
Sounds good.
I guess the next time we pick up, we'll pick up at
6 a.m.
Yeah, around 6 a.m. We'll circle back and talk about a couple of things we already talked about, and then go on from there.
Maybe next Tuesday.
Yeah. If you want to make this a weekly thing, that's fine by me.
All right, sounds great, guys.
Yeah,
Later.
I don't work until 5 o'clock. So thanks, Bill. Thank you a lot, man. It was really informative. By the way, I thoroughly did enjoy that.
And listen, if anybody in the comments says some of the things I'm saying is full of shit, please tell me I'm full of shit and correct me. I don't want to be wrong about this sort of thing.
Heck yeah. Thanks. It's just above board. You made it clear that these were sometimes rumored, but it sounds like some of these are very corroborated rumors. To me, there's levels. There are levels,
And there was recent news that said that a lot of the stuff that was uncorroborated, unreleased, not official is could be true because there's signs of a struggle or something along those lines.
Well, I mean, I'll just say upon my exiting that law enforcement will say whatever they have to say to get to the end of the road. The end. They're not looking short term. They're looking at the end of the road at the beginning. And in order to get there, they may have to move some things around and obfuscate. It's one of my favorite new words. The information a bit to their benefit, and it's not always nefarious or conspiratorial on their part. And that's all.
All right, guys. Bill, Derek, it's been a real pleasure. On that note, we're going to end the stream, and you guys will most likely see this bunch again, hopefully next Tuesday, if we can work it all out. And I'm going to get you guys connected. And anybody who's watching the replay, leave a comment, ask questions. I'm sure we'll all be taking a look at the comments and doing our best to figure it all out. That's all we're trying to do.
Computers are expensive. Don't smash anything. You just push the like button. That's good enough.
All right, if you can hear me over this loud ass lawnmower, I want to say everybody have a good time and stay safe.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Peace
out.
everybody.
Later, chat.
Later.